Hi everyone, welcome to our class today, all about coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. So this is part of the IELTS Grammar Masterclass course. So if this is something that you are interested in, specifically for IELTS writing, then here's a great lesson for you. Today we're going to cover all of the coordinating conjunctions and a lot of the subordinating ones, so you can feel confident using these in your writing in general and for IELTS. Okay, let's begin with coordinating conjunctions. There's less of them, and so I think that's a nice way to start off today, and then we'll end with the subordinating ones. So it's a long phrase, coordinating conjunctions. It's a bit of a mouthful. What do we mean by this? Well, they are like the glue that connects elements of equal grammatical rank. Now, that's also a lot to think about. Essentially, they connect words, phrases, or independent clauses that are of equal importance within a sentence. So when we had our sentence lesson, if you were with us for that, we talked about compound sentences, and compound sentences rely on coordinating conjunctions because they contain two independent clauses. So they are equal. Their independent clauses are, in the eyes of grammar, carry the same weight, if you like. So if you think about your scales, they're the same. And we need these words to join them together. Now, you don't have too many of these words, so they are special for this joining of equal sentences. So let's go through each one, and I've got an acronym for you. So the first one, for. Second one, and. Nor. But. Or. Yet. And one more. So. Can you read what that says? That becomes fanboys. So a fun way to remember these coordinating conjunctions, if that is something that is helpful for you. I know that a lot of students like these sort of fun tricks and tips as to how to remember. So fanboys, they are our coordinating conjunctions, and you might have seen a lot of these. Words like and but and or are very, very common, I would say. Nor is a little bit formal, perhaps not so common, but nevertheless still used. Yet as well is it's quite specific yet, so you don't see it in a lot of situations, but when you can use it, it's very effective. But definitely and but and or, I would say you will see and hear a lot in English. Okay, so just to be aware of these, and we're going to now go through lots of examples as to how you can use these coordinating conjunctions. Let's start with for. You could say she apologized for her mistake. We brought a gift for our friend's birthday. He went to the gym daily for fitness. Okay, here we go. So that's how you can use for. It sort of tells you why something is happening. It gives more information here. Now, and this is an interesting one. So we use this in lots of different types of situations. She likes coffee and tea. He studied hard and passed the exam. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. So you can see that not every example that I'm going to show you today is two independent clauses, for example. But the coordinating conjunction doesn't have to just connect to independent clauses, it can be elements, phrases as well. So I wouldn't get too worried about the fact that it's not always two independent sentences. Of course, in the compound sentence, that's a separate topic, it would be, but here it's joining a few different types of phrases and sentences together. Nor now, I'd say not as used as the other ones. He neither confirmed nor denied the allegations. So it's very, very similar to or. It's neither too hot nor too cold outside. So this is great when you're comparing two things together. She neither laughed nor cried during the movie. So you can see that nor is perfect for when you've got two situations that are a lot of the time opposite to each other, and you want to sort of compare them and have them in the same sentence. Nor is perfect for that. But this is a commonly used coordinating conjunction. She wanted to go out, but it was raining. The restaurant had good reviews, but we chose a different one. He is young, but he is very talented. Okay, so but is used when we have a statement, we have a thought, and then we want to put something that counters that thought, that goes against it, for example. Or, do you want tea or coffee? So we wouldn't use nor here because nor is used in situations where neither element is happening. So for example, too hot nor too cold, well it's neither. Whereas or, you actually have both options on the table. So do you want tea or coffee? Both are possibilities here. So that's when we use or. You can choose between a book or a movie. So both are valid options, and which one do you want to go for? Is it black or white? So here you can see the difference now with nor, hopefully. Yet, he was tired, yet he continued working. So it's almost like nevertheless, even though something is true, he was tired, he did something anyway, regardless of this fact. It was a challenging task, yet she completed it on time. So you're sort of presenting something and then saying actually the opposite happened, or it was done anyway, something happened despite of this fact, this situation. The weather was cold, yet they decided to go for a hike. So really good coordinating conjunction. It's quite a specific meaning and situation which you would use this one. So, it was late, so we decided to leave. She practiced regularly, so she improved her skills. The movie was interesting, so we stayed until the end. So, in this context, is adding more information to that independent clause. So, it was late. We could just leave it there, full stop. But so is a nice way to add on something that connects to that independent clause with another independent clause. So we decided to leave. So they link together. It's definitely connected. Well, all of these phrases are connected with each other, but this one, you can see A leads to B. One thing is true, so another thing happens. Okay, so those were our coordinating conjunctions. We only have 7. Really useful to remember. and definitely important in our writing. So now let's switch gears and look at subordinating conjunctions. How are these different? Well, they join an independent clause with a dependent clause, and they are integral in complex sentences. So instead of equal weighted sentences, we are now looking at complex ones. They indicate relationships with things like cause and effect, contrast, time, condition. So they really add deep layers to your writing, a lot more information, and they are integral with this glue between the independent clause, so a complete thought, and a dependent clause, which we've looked at before in the course, but this is a clause where it cannot stand alone. It needs that independent clause to make sense, to be complete. So let's have a look at some of these. Well, we can have conjunctions of time, subordinating conjunctions of time. For example, he finished his homework before going to bed. So what is the independent clause? Well, he finished his homework. Okay, that can stand alone. But we want to add more information. But it's not going to be more information which can stand alone. It needs that first independent clause. So we want to say before going to bed, for example. And now we know, okay, we can understand the relationship between the timing of this. It's almost like a timeline. You can now imagine him finishing his homework and then going to bed. So we've got a sequence of events here. After the rain stopped, they continued their hike. So again, we're seeing this time happening. So they're waiting for the rain to stop, and then they carried on hiking. Would it make sense if we would just say after the rain stopped? No, we're on a cliffhanger there. We don't know what's happening. It's not a complete thought. It needs the independent clause that follows it. We listened to music while driving to the beach. So with this situation, we have while, which means at the same time. So we can now think of two things happening simultaneously. Okay, another situation, conjunctions of reason. What was the reason for something happening? Well, he didn't attend the party because, this is a very common subordinating conjunction, because he was feeling unwell. So we want to know why something's happening here, and these conjunctions of reason can tell us. The event was postponed since many participants couldn't attend. He resigned from his job as he found a better opportunity. So you can see that, okay, the independent clause can stand alone, but these conjunctions of reason are adding intricate details. Purpose now. So why does she do something? In this case, she studied hard so that she could get a scholarship. So providing purpose to the independent clause here. Why, justifying why something's happening. We took a short break in order to relax and recharge. They went to the park to enjoy the sunny weather. So giving reasons, purpose, why something is happening. Results now. She worked hard, so she achieved her goals. So one thing happened, which led to another one, the result. She saved money, therefore she could afford the vacation. One thing leads to another. He didn't wear a coat, consequently he caught a cold. That's a really good subordinating conjunction, consequently. So you'll see that a lot of these conjunctions are coming up for different situations, and that's okay. There's many subordinating conjunctions unlike coordinating ones. So a lot of the time they can be used in various different situations, and it would be too much to do an example on each one because there's so many. So we're just going with the purpose here. What can you use them for? And then I'll give you a variety, 3 different examples of different subordinating conjunctions. Condition now. So we might know this from our conditional sentences. If it rains, we will stay at home. So if being one. Unless is another one. Unless it's urgent, don't disturb me. So if one thing is true, then the other thing, it sort of leads into another. So if it rains, we will stay at home. That's a condition. The next condition, unless it's urgent, then we have more information about what to do. Don't disturb me. He agreed to help, provided that he receives proper credit. So the proper credit is the condition, otherwise it won't happen. Comparison is also a situation which you can use subordinating conjunctions, and we've got 2 now, so you can sort of split them up. The new phone is as expensive as the old one. Now it seems a bit tricky to say as and then as, but this is a really good way of comparing 2 things, the new phone and the old one. The second movie was more interesting than the first one. So here we've got more and then followed by than. And in the middle, it's like a sandwich. In the middle, you put something like an adjective, for example, was more interesting, a describing word to compare. She is less experienced than her colleagues. So now we've got this understanding, okay, well, she doesn't have as much experience then perhaps her other colleagues. Okay, so that's comparison. What about concession? Giving up something. Although it was raining, they decided to go for a walk. So they're giving up their nice walk, but it's okay, they're still going for one. Even though they practiced, they lost the game. So something concession where something doesn't quite work out to what you think it might, or the subject might think. She is talented, though she lacks experience. Okay, so this is a slightly more negative situation where something is lacking or different. Manner now. He spoke confidently, as if he knew the answer. He sang like an opera singer. The child laughed as though he understood the joke. So this is talking about how something seems to someone else. So he spoke confidently, as if he knew the answer, like, as though, when actually under the surface these things might not be true, but on the surface it seems that way. Okay, another one, place. She found a cafe where she could work peacefully. So where are words. The artist displayed his paintings everywhere in the gallery. She can find a job wherever she moves. So these ones are a bit more straightforward. Place. Okay, there we go. So we went through lots of subordinating conjunctions. There's so many that are available to us, but those were just a few for the various different situations that you might find yourself writing about. And of course, let's not forget our coordinating conjunctions at the beginning. So now let's put it all together and let's see if we can do this quiz related to IELTS. The first couple of sentences you might have, maybe to do with a task 1, a graph. The graph illustrates the percentage of people using public transportation in 2 cities. City A has a higher percentage. City B also demonstrates a significant reliance on public transport. Okay, what goes in the blank? Is it and, yet, for? So we've got our coordinating conjunctions here. Which one do you think it is? Have a think. We can think about whether City A and City B are similar in trends or opposite in trends. That might help us. For this one, maybe yet would be a good choice, I think, for this one. Because they have similar trends, but it's almost saying, don't forget about City B, it also demonstrates a significant reliance, even though City A has a higher percentage. And would also be okay here, but I think yet is more specific and effective in this one. Okay, another one. I'm excited to hear about your upcoming visit to, and then insert your country. You plan your itinerary. I highly recommend exploring the historic landmarks in. Okay, so what might the blank be? Before? When? As? Oh, this is a bit of a trickier one. And in a lot of situations, you might have two that could fit. It's not so black and white, these ones. Before you plan your itinerary, maybe. When you plan, maybe. As. I think they could all work to a certain degree in this blank. Let's have a look. Which is the most suitable? I would say as. So before could work because you might want to do it before, but actually as you plan your itinerary, you can explore as at the same time. Okay, that was a bit of a tricky one, so well done if you thought that was the correct answer. Okay, to round things off today, we have a big paragraph that you might be talking about in your task 2. So let me read it to you, and then you can think about where you see any conjunctions of any description. In the contemporary era, online education has become increasingly prevalent, offering several advantages and disadvantages compared to traditional classroom learning. Traditional classrooms foster face-to-face communication, but they might be less convenient for individuals with busy schedules. While, on the other hand, online education allows students to access a wealth of resources from anywhere, consequently making it extremely convenient. Have a quick scan, have a read, see if anything jumps out at you. I can see a few words, conjunctions that we've talked about quite a lot in today's lesson, and a few unusual ones as well. Okay, so we have our and, our but, coordinating conjunction, and then we have while and consequently. That's a really nice one to use as well if you can. So a few scattered through this paragraph here, and hopefully this has given you a clear idea on how you can use this in your essays and your task 1s and in your speech as well, of course. Let's not forget that. But this was our focus today on the writing, so hopefully you can see how this can be utilised to create really complex and interesting essays. Well, there we go. Thank you so much for coming along today. Really, really interesting to talk about these conjunctions and a great thing to include for your IELTS practice. So I hope this has been helpful and we'll see you next time.